G36 is a rifle that everybody can recognize, but nobody's really even seen one in person before. In the past, G36s have been reserved for movies and video games, but today, S5 Tactical has put that in our hands at a price point that you can actually afford as well. So today we're going to be taking a look at the S5 Tactical G36K, or SG36 as their model actually is. We're going to see if this thing lives up to the hype. Before we get too far in today's video, guys, I want to quickly thank our two channel sponsors. The first being Sable Defense. They are a US-based manufacturer. We actually have their padded sling here today, which I really liked. So if you're in the market for a sling, go check them out over at Sable Defense. Second channel sponsor is actually you guys. So your obligation as a channel sponsor is to drop a comment down below. So looking forward to seeing all of your questions and takes down below. Before we go over this G36 as configured, let's kind of touch on S5 Tactical and who they are and what they're about. So S5 Tactical, a relatively new company. Obviously, as you see here today, they are in the market for G36Ks. They also do Cs as well as full 16-inch rifles. The Ks or the Cs are pistol length. So the K, as shown here today, is a 12.5-inch barrel. The C is a 8.6 or 8.9. I can't remember off the top of my head, but these variants are going to ship without a stock, and I got my stock off HK Parts. So I think there's quite a few companies now that are starting to provide aftermarket support for the G36, but HK Parts kind of has helped S5 Tactical put these things together and bring them to market. So S5 Tactical actually is making the receivers. These are polymer, obviously, as a lot of the G36 is. Receiver molds they have are actually from Tommy built. I know kind of Tommy is a mixed bag, but what S5 did to help kind of keep their price point down was to acquire molds that already existed, make a few refinements to them, and then be able to give us a product at a great price point. These S5's offerings are all sub 2K between their G36 and UMPs, which I would love to get in the channel someday. UMPs, they're just a vibe. Also, their MP7, which is upcoming. I'm super pumped for that. Already got some optics, lights, and mags for that thing. So as soon as that's on the market, I'll be ready to go, and you guys can expect a video on that thing. But yeah, so S5 Tactical, they are all 100% American-made guns. So this is it's not an actual HK parts kit. This is a US-made G36 parts kit, but this is not just an AR-15 and a G36 shell. For all intensive purposes, including, well, for my purposes, this is a true G36, albeit not a true HK. Snobs, I know you're gonna come at me. I'm an enthusiast, not a snob. There's a line in the sand. I like cool stuff. I also like to beat a forward cool stuff, so there's that. But a little bit about my setup currently. We'll just go tip to butt, and a little bit about the G36 controls as well, because it's kind of a fun rifle in a world of AR-15s in America. Up front, we have a Cat Whitebread RDM. When it ships, the rifle will come with a just a four-prong flash hider. And I'm not sure if you can actually see from here. I'll probably overlay a video. There's actually little index points for the flash hider. It's got a little, I don't know what you want to call it. It kind of ratchets on, so it's kind of neat. And I did actually find a direct thread hub mount for my Cat Whitebread, which was surprisingly difficult to track down. So I was happy that I got one. These muzzle devices are, or the barrel I should say, not muzzle device, is 15x1 right hand. The first adapter I bought was left hand. That was oops. I was like, this looks right, and it wouldn't thread on. And I was like, there we go. When you're ordering parts, make sure you read. Next we have the handguard, and it has a few points where you can screw pick rails in. I do have pick rails, I just haven't put them on. Decided to keep this rifle nice and light. As it is mostly made of polymer, this is a pretty natively light gun. Wanted to keep it that way. Underneath that handguard is a 12.5-inch barrel, as well as a short stroke gas piston system. We have a top rail with built-in irons. I do actually really like these irons. Haven't shot a whole lot with because I do love my EOTechs, and this 512 just looks right at home on this guy. Underneath our rail, we actually have our charging handle, which is fully ambidextrous. Can go either side. and you can lock it out. To lock it out, you push it in right if you pull it out, and to release it, pull it back out, and it goes back in, and that's kind of cool. We have our mag well, obviously. Right now I have an HK mag. Blue Mountain Supply had a good sale on some, I believe they're PD trade-in mags. So I picked one up. Maybe I should have picked another one up so I can couple them. I know that was kind of, people don't typically like that on HK mags, but I think it looks kind of cool. Functionally, though, definitely not ideal. This is a full ambi rifle. While we think of ARs, we have our mag release on one side, bolt catch on the other. This is like a center line control system, basically. I just made that up. I haven't heard that before anywhere. But obviously our charging handle, it's in the dead center, and we can go both sides. We have our mag release down here, and just a big paddle, somewhat like an AK. As your mags are rock and lock, you insert and pull back a little bit. And then we have a ambi bolt catch / release. I would classify this just as a bolt catch. You can use it as a bolt catch, but for all intents and purposes, just a bolt release. The bolt catch function is rather difficult to actually utilize. We do have an ambi safety. As we can see, it is the same length on both sides, which is one small gripe I have. I have pretty big hands, so on this side of the rifle, he does dig into my trigger finger just a little bit. Not ideal, but if I was going to be keeping this trigger pack in long term, I would probably file it down just a little bit. But AS Designs is coming out with an FRT for this, so I will be making a follow-up video on this G36, kind of giving an update, because I'm about at 500 rounds right now in this rifle. Hope to be at a few thousand by then, at that video. So this is kind of part one of a two-part series on this guy. I'll be making a few other changes as well, other than just the FRT as well. So subscribe, follow along to stay up to date on that. Yeah, that's kind of about it. I got a K-stock from got a K-stock from HK Parts. When you buy the stock, one thing to note, you do have to find the stock pin, pivot pin, whatever it's called actually, because your stock will not actually come with them. It just has a button here, press it in, and you're able to fold, and it locks, and it actually locks on the brass deflector there. Now, on the S5s, the brass deflector has been a little bit of a point of contention. I've seen a few other people had to shave theirs down. While I did have a few malfunctions, kind of overlay them now, which I believe were kind of the same issue. So I'll just take a little bit off that brass deflector, and it will still retain functionality of locking. Just looking at it, it'll still be able to lock. But otherwise, I have had no malfunctions. I had 2 malfunctions that I would say that I would credit to the I've had 2 malfunctions to date, and I would credit those to the brass deflector angle. Like rounds they eject, so they hit the brass deflector and they bounce right back in and cause a malfunction. So that's obviously not ideal. Super easy fix though, from what I've seen. Like Despop, I believe he had that going on with his, and I think he resolved it that way. I was actually introduced to S5 Tactical through Despop's video. Kind of always thought G36s were really neat, and never really thought I'd be able to own one because the Tommy belts and the SL8 conversions, those things were pretty pricey. And it's like a G36 to me is a really cool gun. It's not like I'm gonna use a G36 as like a go-to-war rifle or anything. I think maybe you could someday. Just being in America, AR-15 pattern stuff's kind of the way to go. But a G36 at the end of the day, it's just cool. Like, you can't tell me that's not a vibe. Like growing up and playing video games, like featured in Die Hard, and seems like a lot of villains in the early 2000s, late 90s movies had G36s. So growing up watching that stuff, it's like, dang, that's a cool gun. Because you never see them around here. I think the FBI in the US use some. But more or less, the only time you ever really see one of these is on the internet or media. Like you can go into Cabela's and you can see, or Shields, and you'll see a gun that looks like this, and you get really excited, like, oh dang, a G36, that's sick. And you get up to it, and it's a HK22, because HK hates us, and they only want us to have 22 LRs. I have zero interest in a gun that's made to look like another gun, but fires some dinky little round. Now, that's just not for me. If I want a 22, I'm going to stick with a 1022 or something that was designed to be a 1022, not retrofitted after the fact. But yeah, I have really enjoyed this thing so far. Like, it's just sick. Accuracy wise, this gun is completely adequate accuracy wise for a 12.5-inch like rifle. It's completely adequate. I have had 0 accuracy issues. I will be doing accuracy testing in the next video, but I'm probably about 2 MOA roughly, I would guess, and that's basically just standing, shooting, letting this thing eat. So accuracy wise, I have 0 concerns right now. So it's actually 0 degrees out right now. I was going to do that part of the video today, but I already can't feel my toes and I haven't been out here too terribly long. So we're going to save that for a later date. It's a nice cold January afternoon. Hey guys, thanks for watching today's video. Like and subscribe to follow along. See part 2 of this coming in the future. And got a lot of cool stuff in the works for 2026. So definitely subscribe, like, follow along. Hit the hype button if you can. Appreciate all the help. And yeah, have a good one. We'll see you in the next one. It's time for me to get inside and get warm. I know it doesn't look too cold, but yeah, we're still at 0 degrees. So thanks.